Hello there and welcome to Devlog 3. I am really excited to make this one, even though it's probably going to take a very long time. Because today we are turning this awful desktop simulator into an actual game. We are finally going to add gameplay. But that's also the reason this is going to take me ages. But I hope the video isn't too long. Right, let's get into it. So there are two things we need to do before we can get to the gameplay. These two things. You see, currently all the buttons on the desktop do something, except for these two. So we are going to change that. Let's start with the Windows Explorer. First thing I did was create a little window for it. I went with a relatively old style, but I really like it. It's also very minimalistic and pixel artsy, but that just fits the game. Then I made a little pop-up animation in Unity, and now when you click on the Windows Explorer, a window pops up. Currently, this window does not have any functionality yet, but we can always add that later. Right, so now the Windows Start icon. The first thing we need to do is actually display and detect when the mouse is over the icon. So I did exactly that and added a little blue overlay so it's very clear when you're over it. Then I added a little pop-up window that pops up when you click on the icon, and then I started designing the web browser icon. This is going to be a very important icon because it's one that people are going to click on a lot, since almost half of the game takes place in the web browser. Right, so after designing it, I put it in Unity and added a little fade in and fade out, just so it's a bit more smooth. Then I added clicking functionality to the web browser icon, and it now takes you to an empty scene. This is where the web browser is going to be. But right now the transition is way too rough. We need to make it look way smoother and way nicer, and I don't even want the player to know they've switched scenes. So what I did is I created a big version of the Windows Explorer window and added a transition animation to it. Now when you click on the web browser icon, it plays a nice transition to the new scene. I also added some functionality to the red cross in the right hand corner. When you click it, you can now actually exit the web browser and go back to the first scene. This does not have a transition yet, but I can always add that in the future. Right, so before we continue, I just want to say something real quick. You see, we hit 100 subscribers, which is just absolutely insane. I have no words. Literally no. Well, I have two words. Thank you. Just thank you. I never thought we would reach this in a couple of months, let alone a week. So yeah, thank you. Right, let's get back into it. So at the beginning of this video, I said this. Today we are turning this awful desktop simulator into an actual game. Yeah, so a couple of things have changed. You see, quite some time has passed and I've been thinking of more ideas for the game. And this has actually made it impossible or very difficult for me to make a game out of this desktop simulator in this video. But what we can add is combat. So we're going to start with that. I added a little combat test button to the web browser, and when you click on it, you are taken to a new scene. In this scene, we are going to make a combat test. And then later we can just copy that when we actually need it. Right, so then I started working on a background for our combat test scene. I knew I wanted to make a landscape, but I had no idea what kind of landscape. So I just kind of started drawing, and I think it ended up looking pretty good. It almost looks like a desert, but it's also very green, and I absolutely love it. The sun looks absolutely amazing, and I love these kind of cactus plant things. After I'd made it, I added it as the background of our combat scene, and I added a little Windows bar on the bottom, and it honestly looks really good. I'm very pleased with the result. Right, so then I started importing assets from the other scenes. Of course, I'd already done that for the icons, but now I've also done it for the creatures. I also changed the position of the health, armor, and level bars to be on top of them. Well, they were already on top of them, but like more to the side, more centered. because the enemy has to have one too. I also added these 2 buttons to the button. Also made sure that the icons disappear when you click on a creature or the icon of a creature, and that 2 buttons pop up, an attack button and a convince button. Right now it doesn't really matter, and I will explain later what these things actually do and what they mean. Right, so then I started designing the enemy. I just went with a very simple design that just spells error, and it looks pretty good in the scene as well as just separately. Then I added enemy stats to that enemy, and now it's starting to look like a fight. Right, so then I think I just got an idea. Oh no.
That, dear viewers, was the voice of someone who just came up with a brand new, way more complicated combat system. But he doesn't want to implement that right now, because it's going to take a million years. But because he is so arrogant, he is still going to make the thumbnail and title of this video adding gameplay and combat. He is also going to end the video here and isn't even going to finish what he started. He is a very stupid person. Not finishing what they started and just lying to your viewers is disrespectful. But anyway, let's see what he has to say for himself.
Right, so that was a bit rude and uncalled for. Yes, I just came up with a brand new combat system, and I think it's going to be awesome, but it's also going to take a very long time, like he already said. And yes, I'm still keeping this thumbnail and title as adding gameplay and combat, just because I don't know what else to put there. It's what we're trying to do the entire video. I think it's the best option, at least better than adding I did absolutely nothing, because that's not true, but I can't exactly tell you what we did, because I've done a lot of things. I have made the code more relative by hard coding less and making one script apply to multiple objects, which is impressive. But I am not a game developer. Really, I'm not. I'm just someone who tries to make a game, and apparently I'm failing at that. But the idea is still here, and the idea is still growing, and the idea just grew a little further. But I am going to end this video here because we've done something, and I really just want to get a video out there and not spend another week working on the new combat system and then thinking of something else. I just want to let it rest for a moment and get this thing out there. So if you liked it, make sure to give it a like. If you didn't like it, then please tell me what I did wrong so I can improve. If you don't want to miss the next devlog, make sure to subscribe. And if you really want to miss it, make sure to hit that notification bell so you get notified when I upload and you can actively avoid it. Right, so with that said, I will see you in the next video. Bye.